our topic this evening is consider what? How to match features of assistive technology. Because this is an important area for us, not to always just say, well, our district uses fill in the blank, and that's always what we're going to use. We have to make sure that we are looking at the features, and we're going to kind of explain that as we go through tonight. So your facilitators tonight are, I'm Kathy White. If you've never met me before, I'm one of the co-chairs of the AT Forward project. I have over 35 years of assistive technology experience. So I've worked in schools. So when people tell me things can't be done, I'm like, oh, yes, they can. And joining me tonight is Anna Cliff.
Hi, I'm Anna Cliff. I am formerly a program support teacher in the Madison School District, and I also am an assistive technology professional and support in surrounding districts around the state with consulting and also consumers through Department of Vocational Rehab. So I'm very excited to be here today and share some learning with you and learn from all of you as well. All right, so our agenda for tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about what actually is feature matching. Why is it so important? Some questions that you can consider when you're going through the feature matching process. And we have some categories that we've divided the feature matching up by. We'll give you some examples. We'll talk about how feature matching can be documented in the IEP process. And then again, we'll talk through some case studies and some examples that way. All right, so what is feature matching? And feature matching is the formal and informal process in which the attributes of assistive technology that are needed and desired are determined.
And that's kind of your formal definition, and we're going to kind of unpack that as we go along here. What is it not? Okay, go ahead,
Go
Anna.
ahead. No, you're on it, Kathy.
I was going to say it's not picking something. Okay, we're not going shopping. We're not shopping when we say, well, this is what we always use. So this is, you know how you have your favorite brands for things, and you might not want generic. Well, the generic might be what we need. So we have to make sure that we are for sure looking at everything and not just saying, this is what we always use, so we're going to use it again. So we're not going shopping, people. It's just really important for us to kind of think about that. So why do we feature match? This is essential that we do this. One, it's legally, we have to, okay? To answer that question on the IEP that says, did we consider assistive technology? And I've sat in IEPs where people are like, well, that's only for those really involved students, or it's only for, fill in the blank. And it's like, nope, it's for every student. So you must stop and pause and discuss this. And why do we also do it? Because it will reduce abandonment of devices. When people are like talking about the length of time that we take for an IEP, yep, they are lengthy, and I know a lot of times we're sitting there for a very long time. But when we do that, if we do it correctly, you're not going to have abandonment of your devices, because we're going to take into consideration your personal preferences of each and every student when you're doing these things. And sometimes that can be the make or break. And this is a good time. Let me open the chat back up here and take a look at what you might have said about your features that you find are important, because this is where this taking into consideration personal preferences can be very helpful to people. I've had students, whoops, sorry, I came back one too, where they've not liked their communication device because the color was wrong. It's not my favorite color, or, oh, heaven forbid, I'm not using that kind of color, for whatever I want. So it's important that we take that into consideration. So let's see. Rose said captioning. Absolutely. We love our captions. Parental controls. Way to go, Anna, because you have little ones, right?
Yep.
Voice and dictation. Yeah, and for elderly, I have an aunt who is in her upper 80s, and when it's just so nice for her just to talk into her remote and say, turn on, whatever it happens to be. Watch the crown, or things like that. And it's hard for her to remember where it all is. So yeah, that voice dictation is great. Anybody else?
Kathy, I just wanted to make mention while people are putting some of these options in there. I noticed that no one said a specific brand name. No one said an LG, no one said a Sony, no one said a Samsung. So there's no specific brand names of TVs out there, smart TVs. They were really getting into those features and those things that are that people are using on a broad range of different kinds of TVs.
Nobody mentioned the size either.
Yep. Oh, so how easy it is to use or figure out. So just the navigation features on a smart TV. Some might have different navigation features. I like that. Or changing some of the apps in different orders, right? I have to take the YouTube app on mine and put it in the very back. And sometimes if you can delete it off the TV so the kids aren't going to YouTube on the TV. But yes, there's different ways to play with those smart TVs, and it takes some time sometimes. All right, some questions
Absolutely.
to consider. What does the student or individual need to be able to do? So this is part of that consideration process, and we're talking about what are we considering and what AT does a student need? Thinking about the environments that the student is going to be accessing those tasks or those activities. What are common features of that tool? So we'll get into some different ideas coming up here. How does the student access the device? How are they getting the device to do what they need it to do? Are they using a switch? Do they need to use eye gaze? Or what other methods are they using to access? And what does the device do that can help the student? For example, does it give picture clues to help with learning the menus? I know some AAC devices, especially Snap Core, really looks at helping somebody navigate where to search for a different item or what buttons to press in what order to help you figure out how to say different things. I use that as a feature for myself when I'm supporting students and helping them navigate it. So thinking about what features are there that are used to help learn and support that tool as well.
So we're looking at the input, how is a student getting access to the device, and what are they taking out of it also? So those are the two kind of separate things that we're going to talk. So as we discuss this, this was actually in a meeting earlier today. If you've not seen or heard about some of the new guidance that's come out of the Office of Special Education, one of the things that they came out with is this great big document and talks about myths and facts about things. And I did put the link in there, so if you want to go and take a look at this, it's a fairly large document. But as it comes up, it talks about myths and facts surrounding assistive technology. And the great thing about the new guidance that's coming out, and it just came out January of 2024, is that we're really talking about what's going on now in the country as far as AI and new assistive tech, because we haven't really visited this in a very long time. We haven't visited assistive technology in a long time. And I think it's important that we go back through that. And as you scroll through this document, you'll find, pardon my scrolling here, it's got myths and it's got the facts. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about, a very specific myth and fact tonight. So myth that says, so if you're sitting in an IEP and someone says, well, we don't have to talk about consideration for assistive technology. The student already has a communication device, or the student already has access to a calendar or word prediction or OCR software, whatever it happens to be. And it's like, no, that just because you did that does not satisfy IDEA. IDEA requires that the team consider whether the child with a disability needs AT devices and services. And this is not something that it's one and done. This is a constant kind of thing that we want to go back to. And that's where we wanted to really talk about this and go through that process with you.
All right. So why can't I just say what it is? Everyone always asks this. And I think when you get into an IEP meeting and people are like, well, what is the name of the device the student's using? I'm going to talk about a little bit of a caveat to some of this. But if you think about it, the device name does not help people understand what the student really needs. So if I were to say somebody needs a Samsung TV, right? Like we were talking about earlier, that doesn't give me any information about the features of that TV that are beneficial to someone. So for example, does a student need a 10th generation iPad Or do they need a tablet that provides text prediction, a touch screen, or enlargement features? So we're really targeting what those features are and helping people understand who would pick up that IEP and not know the student, helping them understand it's not the iPad they need, it's those features of that iPad that they need. So one caveat we have here is you can list the name of a device that a student is currently using in the present levels of an IEP. But one thing we want to talk about is cautioning you here. You need to be clear and incorporate the features that are still required. And what we have been given guidance on in the past in Madison schools, we were told by our district lawyers that including a statement such as the above identified device is simply the device that's currently being used. So it's a present level, right? But any device with similar features may be used. So again, we are still talking about a student's using a Nova Chat. Yes, we want the team and we want people to know they're currently using a Nova Chat. And what are the features of that Nova Chat that we need to describe and let people know are needed? Is it the dynamic display, the touchscreen capabilities? What is the input of the device? What is the output of the device? So remember thinking about those features. What are the features that are really important? Having that be the centerpiece of what you really are talking about. But then again, in the present level, you can say this is presently what they're using. That's okay. You're going to talk about that the next IEP. You're going to review that. And is that going to be the same device? Maybe. It might be something new. It might have changed. The model might have been updated. Lots of different reasons. But again, we're going to talk about those features. So we're going to go into some examples here in a minute.